At 46, Craig Melvin did not call a press conference. He did not step in front of a camera on the set of Today and deliver a dramatic monologue. There was no viral clip, no carefully lit interview chair, no scrolling headline beneath his face. Instead, what happened on Sunday afternoon was something far quieter. In a closed room, with only a handful of longtime colleagues present, Craig spoke from a place that wasn't polished or performative. According to those who heard him, his voice wasn't angry. It wasn't sensational. It was protective, reflective, almost heavy with the weight of watching someone he cares about carry more than she should. What he shared wasn't gossip about contracts or anchor chairs. It was something deeper, a window into the lifelong bond between Savannah Guthrie and her mother, Nancy, and how that bond may explain everything we're seeing now. The invisible rope between mother and daughter. Craig described Savannah and Nancy's relationship as an invisible rope, one that has tethered them together for 46 years. Not in a controlling way, not in a cruel way, but in a way that fused love with expectation so tightly that Savannah never quite learned how to separate the two. He reportedly said that even now, amid the fear and uncertainty surrounding her mother's disappearance, Savannah is still operating as though she's being graded. Not by the public, not by executives, by Nancy. That might sound abstract, but anyone who has grown up with a strong, high-achieving parent understands it instantly. The internal voice doesn't quiet just because circumstances change. It becomes the compass, the critic, the coach. Craig's point wasn't that Nancy lacked love. It was that love, in their home, often arrived wrapped in standards, and Savannah built her entire identity around meeting them. Strength as a love language one story. Craig shared, according to those present, went back decades. Savannah once told him about an early career decision, a job she wanted but didn't take because her mother believed she could aim higher. She never framed it as resentment. She framed it as motivation. That distinction matters. Savannah didn't see pressure as punishment. She saw it as proof that Nancy believed in her potential. But Craig said that when she told the story, there was pride in her voice. And something else, a flicker of fear, the kind that whispers, "If I slow down, if I fall short, will I still be enough?" Over time, strength became Savannah's love language. Composure became currency. Excellence became reassurance. If she performed well, love was secure. If she faltered even privately, she risked disappointing the person whose approval meant everything. Watching the crisis through a different lens, Craig reportedly urged those in the room to reconsider how they viewed Savannah's public statements over the past week. The carefully structured videos, the steady tone, the deliberate phrasing. He suggested that what some viewers interpret as emotional restraint might actually be lifelong conditioning. Nancy, he said, raised her to believe that control equals survival, that gratitude comes before pleading, that you thank people, outline facts, and then make your request. So when Savannah addressed the public, she didn't begin with raw desperation. She began with composure. That isn't coldness. It's training. It's muscle memory built over decades. Craig's perspective reframes the narrative. This isn't a woman suppressing emotion for image. It's a daughter responding to crisis the only way she was ever taught was acceptable, with discipline, structure, and visible strength. The cost of never falling apart. What moved the room most, according to the recounting, was when Craig spoke about what we don't see. He said he has witnessed Savannah navigate exhaustion, grief, and private struggle without allowing it to fully surface. Not because she lacks emotion, because she believes emotion must be contained. There's a difference between being resilient and feeling forbidden to break. Craig suggested that Savannah may fear that if she collapses publicly, she will somehow fail the very standard Nancy instilled in her, even now, even in unimaginable circumstances. That idea, that a daughter could still be striving for an A+ in strength while waiting for news about her mother is heartbreaking in its humanity. It reminds us that childhood dynamics don't dissolve with age. They evolve, they internalize, and in moments of crisis, they intensify. Love, expectation, and generational change. Craig also reflected on how Savannah parents her own children. He's observed softness, patience, space for tears and imperfection. He suggested that this may not be accidental, it may be intentional healing. Many parents quietly adjust what they experience growing up, not as rebellion, as refinement. Craig's insight wasn't that Nancy failed, it was that every generation builds differently from the last. Savannah appears determined to ensure her children never question whether love must be earned through performance. And yet, when it comes to her own mother, the old wiring still hums. That's not hypocrisy, it's complexity. You can evolve and still carry the imprint of where you started, especially when the person who shaped you is suddenly unreachable. The deadline and the emotional weight. As public attention focuses on investigative updates and looming deadlines, Craig's comments invite a broader empathy. This isn't just a news story unfolding in real time, it's an emotional reckoning decades in the making. If Nancy returns home safely, Savannah may eventually allow herself to exhale. If the outcome is harder, the grief will likely carry layers. Not only loss, but the ache of unfinished proving. Craig reportedly ended the conversation with a plea. Don't reduce this to spectacle. See the person. Understand the history beneath the headlines. Recognize that composure does not equal absence of pain. It often signals the opposite. Whatever comes next, Savannah is not simply fighting to solve a crisis. She is navigating the deepest parts of who she has always been: daughter, achiever, protector, all at once. Permission to be human. Perhaps the most powerful takeaway from Craig's private reflections is this: strength can be both armor and burden. Savannah's steadiness has defined her career. It has carried her through breaking news, political storms, and personal trials. But even the strongest people need permission to rest, to grieve without performing, to exist without earning approval. Craig's words, as shared by those who heard them, weren't meant to expose, they were meant to humanize. Behind the anchor desk sits not just a journalist, but a daughter shaped by deep love and high standards. As the world waits for answers, perhaps the most compassionate response is simple: allow her the space to be human, not perfect, not unbreakable, just human.